You know, I've acquired some real live haters on this social media over the years since I've been messing with this thing. And oftentimes my haters don't really get the credit they deserve. So I figure right now is a better time than any to give these haters they credit, because they've been putting in blood, sweat, tears, and years to build brick by brick towards Freeze's greatness. You dig? So we gonna give them what they deserve, man. But first, wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Let's go.
But you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping, then bitch, you getting ignored.
Okay.
I'm so sick of these.
Now, I did a video recently breaking down the difference between jealous fans and haters, right? Because there is a difference. A lot of people categorize, you know, fans as haters, but they really fans though. So we gonna paint the picture a little more vividly, because the breakdown I gave last time wasn't as vivid as this is gonna be, right? So let's get into it, man. Now, haters, as I've said before, are the people that really try to cause real life inconveniences in your life one way or another. Try to get you hurt, try to get your freedom taken, try to get something taken from you other than your freedom or your life. You know, they just really cause real life inconveniences, or at least attempt to, one way or another, right? And man, like I said, I've acquired some real live haters on this internet since I've been messing with this stuff real heavy, as far back as 2012, man. They've been hating on the pimp, right? But you know, to no avail, first of all, of as far as what their objective is, but to my avail, you know, second of all, which is really first of all. You know, they really fuel a pimp's greatness in ways that they probably don't even understand, man. You know, they put in a whole lot of work to hate on my pimping, but they don't probably get to see the fruits of their labor, because they not me and they not living my life, right? But I just had to, you know, give this to let the haters know, you know, what they've played a role in, what they played a part in, right? As far as Freeze's greatness, right? Now, you know, some examples of real life hatred that Freeze has received from people on the internet, right? Now, mind you, these are people that I've never met. These are people that I've never had any conversations with. These are people that I don't have any real life dealings with in real life. And most importantly, take note of the fact that these are people that I have done nothing to. The type of things they've done to me, you know, it ain't even in my character. You know, it ain't even in my makeup to do the things to them that what they've done to me, right? But an example, you know, people from the internet who I don't know have in real life sent them people to my doorstep and try to get my freedom taken, right? On more than one occasion, they've done this to me, right? That's hatred, right? That's real life hatred. Also, you know, a few years ago, unfortunately, there was a 16-year-old girl who was unalived, and you know, her body was found not too far from the track, right? Now, this is what these haters have done to me. Now, this is a young lady who I have no kind of connection to whatsoever. Never met this young lady, never interacted with this young lady, and didn't even know of her existence, unfortunately, until she met her demise, right? Do you know these people manipulated videos and news articles and all this type of stuff to implicate me in the unaliving of that young lady, right? To the point where they took a video of a misunderstanding that I had with one of my students, right? And this student that I had the misunderstanding with in the video, unfortunately, is a well-known punk in the game, right? Everybody know this broad to be one of the biggest punks in LA, right? And when I say punk, I'm talking about a female punk, not the other type of punk, right? Natural born female punk in the game, right? well known. And, you know, at the time of the video with she and I having this misunderstanding, she was 21 or 22 years old, right? Do you know these people took that video and made it like the girl, the young lady in the video was the same young lady who was unalived that was 16 years old, right? This is the type of ways that they've hated on Freeze in real life, right? Man, I've had people, again, on the internet who I don't know, never did anything to, wish harm on my children. You know, I don't even want to paint that picture for y'all, but in graphic detail, they've wished harm on my children, right? Specifically my daughter. You know, they've wished some horrible, gruesome things on my child, right? And, you know, this can be accredited to nothing else besides the fact that somehow, some way, Freeze reminds them of what they hate about themselves. Freeze reminds them of what they don't like about themselves. You know, these individuals, first of all, are all, you know, less fortunate in the aesthetics department. You dig? They all some ugly individuals, just so happens, for one, right? And then two, they think that by Freeze being popular in the game, that them hating on me in these ways is gonna somehow, some way garner them the clout that they want, the attention that they want, right? And I have to point this out. All of these efforts that these individuals put forth to hate on me in these ways has earned them no money, right? They've earned no money doing these things, and they haven't even earned the attention that they seek, right? And the little bit of attention that they seek doing these things, they can't sustain it, right? So they still microscopic in the algorithms of the internet, right? You don't even know who these people are, right? You've never even heard of these people, most of you, right? Because they don't appeal to big audiences. They don't attract large audiences of people, right? These are just, you know, the scum of the earth or the scum of the internet, right? But, you know, they haven't prospered by any of these things that they've done. But guess who has prospered, though? You know, the pimping has, man. You know, the pimping done prospered by this shit. Oh, and then let me give a few other examples too, right? Now, there are some haters that I've had who do know me, who have been around me, who have interacted with me, right? And they fuel the pimp's greatness too, you dig? I can't leave them out, right? Specifically, you know, certain young ladies that are former students of mine, right? This is the type of hatred that a pimp done received on this internet, man, or, you know, to do with this internet. You know, I've had certain young ladies that were students of mine that would laugh, that would find joy and entertainment from, you know, the slander that was being put on my name, right? They would make light of the shit. Needless to say, these individuals' services are no longer needed in the pimp's household, right? But it was my mistake, my negligence for even allowing them to be accepted into a pimp's household, right? But, you know, that's some real life hatred, you know, and you know, some of these individuals have conspired with my internet haters to have, you know, things like my freedom or, you know, my well-being taken from me, right? So, you know, these are just some examples of the type of hatred that I've received. And again, like I say, man, some of these haters haven't been able to see the fruits of their labor, like what all of their hatred has amounted to, right? So yeah, man, these are some of the things, some of the reasons why Freeze goes so hard. These are some of the reasons why Freeze decided to tap into his greatness on this YouTube, right? Because this is what they want, right? This is what they want. They want the clout and the attention and the respect and everything that comes with a pimp doing this on YouTube, right? They want this, and I understand that, right? And you know, I've taken this thing for granted. I can be candid with y'all and say that the potential that I have on YouTube, I have taken it for granted for a long time, right? And within me taking it for granted, and in spite of me taking it for granted, I've still received a lot of attention, you know, in comparison to other people who wish they could do this, right? Because a lot of these people that hate on me have YouTube channels of their own, and they put content out. You just ain't never heard of it because, again, you know, the algorithms ain't messing with them, man. You know, the algorithms stay in pocket on these people, man, like a 304, you dig? So you ain't gonna never hear these people, but my real life haters, they got YouTube channels of their own, right? But and as hard as they go, they can't, you know, accumulate what I accumulate on here on accident or with very little effort, right? So, you know, I had to, you know, have a conversation with myself and ask myself, you know, what would happen if Freeze really went hard on this YouTube shit, right? What would happen if I, you know, stayed consistent and really took this shit a little more seriously than I have been, right? You know, so here we are, right? But I had to let my haters know, you know, the role that they played in this. You know, you provide a lot of fuel to the vehicle that drives a pimp deeper and deeper into his greatness, right? I just had to let my haters know that, you know, y'all really do play a major part in this shit, and a pimp appreciate y'all, man. You know, y'all, you know, I think about y'all, how it's gonna, you know, make you grit your teeth when I'm at the gym working out, and, you know, putting brick by brick onto the greatness of my body. You dig? Building my body up a certain way so that I look better than y'all could ever look. You know what I mean? You know, I consider y'all. You know, when I make these videos and I put them out, man, you know, I consider y'all. You dig? And every time somebody like one of my videos, every time somebody comment on one of my videos, every time somebody share one of my videos or subscribe to my channel and hit the bell when they subscribe, man, I think about you haters, man. I think about y'all, man, and y'all makes the Pimp go even that much harder with this shit. So, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. You dig? Matter of fact, let me clap it up for y'all, man. Yeah, man, I appreciate my haters. You dig? And my jealous, obsessed fans too, right? Now, like I said, there's a difference. And the people that I just described and the acts that I just described, those are haters and hatred type acts. But, you know, jealous, obsessed fans, again, as I've given the analogy before, you know, they talking shit about Freeze on the internet, but, you know, they got some Air Freezes on their feet, and they got Freeze's jersey on their back, and they got a Freeze hat on their head, you know, and they got a Freeze poster on their wall, man. You know, they got a pimp like this on the poster on the wall, you dig? So, all while talking shit about me on the internet. So that's really an obsessed fan. You know, they listening to my music in their stereo while they talking shit about me, man. They watching these videos and everything like that, soaking up game like a sponge, you know, while they talking shit about me. So those are just obsessed fans, and they don't even bother me. You know, I appreciate them too. But I just had to take a moment to acknowledge my real life haters, man, and get them to understand that, you know, all the hating y'all been doing on the Pimp for all these years, you know, it wasn't in vain. You know, it's really fueling a Pimp's greatness, specifically on this YouTube, because I know this is what y'all want. Y'all want to be great on here, but no matter what you do, it just don't work, you dig? But yeah, man, don't trip though, because your efforts might not work in favor of yourself, but they do work in favor of this pimping, man. You dig? But yeah, man. And to those of y'all that got real life haters, man, hey, use that shit as fuel, because it's beautiful and it works. You did. You got to appreciate that shit. Don't let them haters get you frustrated. Don't let them haters get you beside yourself and all that. And you know, acknowledgement is encouragement, man. So don't even acknowledge them haters. You notice I ain't said one hater's name or, you know, gotten specific about any of these particular haters because they don't even deserve that, man. Like I say all the time, acknowledgement is encouragement. And you don't want to acknowledge these haters, but you do want to encourage them in a way, you dig, by continuing to be great. Because that's going to encourage them, man. All this greatness that you see Freeze being and exemplifying, yeah, that's going to encourage them enough, man. But don't acknowledge them, though. You know, don't get down in the mud and wrestle with these pigs. You dig? You know, stay clean, stay fly. You know, stay positive, stay strong. You know, stay working, stay great. You dig? But yeah, man, I just had to get that to y'all, man. Let that marinate on your mind one time. Freeze is it. Go ahead, put some of this good old love in your body like so. And as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out. Dig this. I've been stroking relentless to get waves like this. I spoke into existence for her to pay like this. In the trenches on a day like this, traffic consistent, and so I have to insist that she relay my chips. It's a trap with her name on it and my game on it. Any forces coming against this game, shame on it. Standing on my pimpin' from day one and remain on it. It carried me through every terrain and I gained on it. Experience joy and pain on it, sustained on it.
But getting back to this game that I never left.
Baby, yeah, where you been?